On this episode, we take a hacksaw to our frame rails because we're installing a C-notch so we can air out and get a little bit lower. Garfield the Truck is awesome. So we were playing with this panhard bar thing, and we were looking at the bolt holes that we just drilled. We're like, what about that C-notch? So we brought it over and we were checking out to see where we think we cut the frame to get that C-notch in there. And it looks like we might have to relocate our bolt holes for that little bracket.
Yeah, it's pretty unclear exactly where this notch is going to sit. Obviously, you would hope that your axle would be perfectly centered on it, and I think that's the case, but we were trying to get the panhard bar in before we cut our axle loose. But the more we look at it, I think it's best if we just go ahead and cut it loose, raise the frames up so we can get these notches in, and then we'll just use a tape measure to center the axle, and then start cutting up a perfectly good frame. Yep.
Well, last night ended. After pizza, we did a bunch of grinding and cutting and sawzawing on this frame to get the actual C-notch cut out. Man, was it a pain. So hard to cut through that double frame. So finally we got it, and this morning I come out to the shop after running and getting us some coffee, and Aaron has got the C-notch pretty much all the way in. He heated it with the torch and then took a hammer to it so that it was formed perfectly to the frame. We got these C-notches from CPP, and the shape was really good on the actual C-notch, but it didn't totally match our frame, which I'm sure aftermarket parts, how do you match every frame? Our frame might be bent, who knows? And he's got the last pass of welds to do to get that thing fully in and installed, and it looks pretty dang good. Take a look. Nice work, Aaron.
Yeah, so this gap up here was about 1/4 inch. So I just got it really hot with the torch, and that's 3/8 plate that they built that out of, and it's actually pretty hard to bend. I had to beat the crap out of it, so I've got some dents in my C-notch, but if you're running my truck and critiquing my C-notch, you probably shouldn't be there.
Okie dokie. This is wild. Aaron finished that other side. He did pretty much everything. I did some cutting last night with the Sawzall on that side, but man, it just wears you out. That double frame is hard to cut. So on this side, I'm gonna do as much work as I can. I actually only have a couple of hours. I have to run into Dallas today for an audition, but once I finish that, then I'll be back in the shop, but I've got about a 2-hour window to prep this side to be notched. So the first thing I'm gonna do is pop this tire off, lower the axle down, make sure the frame is sturdy, and then I'm gonna take the cutoff wheel to some of the heads of these rivets so that I can smooth it, hopefully get them clear. But last night we were cutting through rivets, and golly, it's kind of hardcore cutting through this frame, but it's part of the deal. It's gonna be awesome when it's done. All right, let's pop this tire off. Okay, all of my rivets are smooth that need to be, and now I need to go get ready for my audition, which really it didn't take me 2 hours to do that, but setting up the shot, lighting it, doing detail stuff of like marking where everything needed to go. You know how stuff takes longer than you think. So I'm gonna go get that done, and then Aaron is going to probably work on AC or something, and I will get back to work once I get home. I've got our template for our C-notch, and this is the edge that I need to cut, so I'm going to go ahead with our soapstone. We've already got our center set, so that's the center of the axle. So we're going to align it here, and I'm going to make my mark.
Okay, time for Emily to cut the frame.
I killed this blade yesterday.
You're going to need these.
Oh man, I made it in the trash.
Sweet.
I really did, babe.
Are you saying our whole shop is trash?
No, it actually went in the trash can. It just shakes me to my core.
I know, it knocked the friggin' air cleaner off up there.
I'm like, come on.
It sheared the bolts on the air cleaner.
It sheared them off. It's about to shear my arms off. Up in the club, just. Done. Yes. Oh, my arm strength is just not even there. This thing is so heavy. Not terrible.
That looks pretty good.
That looks pretty good. Better than your side, actually, babe.
It does.
That's
Probably means you got it in the wrong place.
That's because you helped me. Okay, the clamp is really sucked nice against the frame now. So we're gonna lift our axle up and make sure that it's got the proper travel in our C-notch, and then get to welding. All right, the forward brackets for the 4-link system are officially welded in. We have to get everything looking all spiffy and then paint it. I don't know if we'll grind any welds down. Some of those welds are awesome, some of them not so much, but we'll see. Once we get the bracketry in for the rear of the whole 4-link assembly, like where the bags bolt up and where the shocks bolt up, then we will make an assessment and see if we want to grind stuff down or if we just are going to embrace the welds and paint them. Overall, everything's coming together and it's looking so legit. Our 4-link bars are all welded and reinstalled. It's about time to put permanent welds on our rear brackets, on the axle, and also on the lower bar. We've got the bag set in here to try and figure out where the upper bar mounts. We're gonna have to drill a hole in the frame. They send you brackets that you can bolt to the inside of the frame to mount that bar, but we really want the bar to come out on this side of the frame so that we can mount our shocks there. So it's gonna be some hole saw madness pretty soon. So, progress is happening. Pretty soon we're gonna have air ride, babe. Full air ride.
Another week or two.
Awesome.
So we got this main bar that runs at the back of the suspension. That's where your shocks are gonna mount, and that's where your airbags are gonna mount. So what I did is I took the bottom bracket, and there was a hole in it, and I was able to put a hose clamp on there and tighten it enough so this can still move around and slide back and forth. And then of course bolted my bag back to it. And I have everything in place basically where I want it. We have plenty of clearance between this dude and the ride height is exactly where we're going to be riding at. So the way I understand it is we set the bags up, not compressed, not stretched out or anything. Your ride height is where you want the bag to be.
Kind of neutral.
Yeah, neutral position, that's a better way to say it. So when you park it and air down, it'll set down onto these bump stops, and then it'll air up an additional 3 inches from the neutral position. So you've got basically 6 inches of travel. Emily just finished drilling her hole, and and she said it was so much fun I should try it for myself on this side. So I'm going to do that. Our frame is negative 0.45 on the level, whatever that means, and so the bag is the same. Emily talked about how hard this was.
Ooh-wee, look at that freaking pole all the way through the frame and the airbag set. It's time to get that bracket on this side and an airbag in there. Oh yeah, that's awesome. Y'all, I'm having so much fun welding all these brackets up. I'm doing nice, thick, fat beads for all this beefy freaking suspension. So check it out. Tell me what y'all think below in the comments because, well, you will anyway, but especially if you have nice things to say about my welding. It would be awesome. All right, check it out. And I got a little bit to go. Well, Aaron's got the panhard bar about ready to go in. I'm getting ready to prep all these new parts for paint. I can't believe we're to this point. It's like 2:30 in the morning now, ish. We've painted, we've reinstalled the bags. The only thing we don't have installed yet is the panhard bar because the paint's just still so tacky that we don't want to mess it up.
I'm ready to put it on the ground. It's
Yes.
been on jack stands for a week.
Yes, we're gonna reward ourselves now by seeing these tires on the ground and the bags compressed and it's sitting on the bump stops inside the C-notch. Oh.
Ooh, that bumper's low.
Dang.
So we're not going to drive it when it's like this.
No, this is like
That's
pull up, park, let the bags down.
Yeah, right.
Wow. Oh my gosh, look, it's at my shin.
That's low. Yeah, that's low.
Really cool. I mean, it's not on the ground. We're not laying frame. But dude, that frame is low for a truck.
I don't care to lay frame. This is a work truck.
Oh.
But obviously, this cross member is hitting our differential. But it's also hitting the bump stops on both sides.
We put in a day, y'all. We're pooped. It's almost 3 o'clock.
In the morning.
Yeah, 3 a.m. Today was really, really good. We got a lot done. And ended the night being able to see how low that bumper is going to be to the ground. That was pretty badass. I'm excited about it. And I'm also excited for some sleep.
It's time.
Yeah.
Shower, sleep.
We'll see y'all tomorrow.